Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daps.
I'm Katie.
And we're so excited that you're here on the first Tuesday after D23, the ultimate Disney fan event.
D23 always kind of feels like there's a very distinct, like, before D23 and after D23. And
so BD23 and AD23.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good. What should people do, Kitty?
Shoot at appsmagic.com, or I always forget how I do this, to be completely honest. Go into the chat.
There you go.
And tell us about what your favorite thing from D23 was. If you were there, tell us what your favorite thing was to experience. If you weren't there, tell us your favorite thing that you saw. Preferably if you saw it on the Daps Magic YouTube channel, but like, we won't.
And guess how many hours of content we have posted. We don't know the answer yet, but you can guess. Well, mainly because I still have a bunch more to post. We filmed a lot of content this weekend. We had a great team between Angela, Doug, Roger, Katie, and myself. We were going crazy at
I didn't film
D23. No, all contributing different things, but
we all have different
content creating or content capturing, I guess is the word. Throughout the weekend was a very busy thing. So guess if you'd like, and we'll see who's closest next week if we're done by then. But gifts. Yes.
Areas of expertise is what I was trying to say. But anyway,
also
I'm having a moment.
On top of going to all of these things, experiencing all of these things, we also I don't know what's happening. We also went shopping, and we're not going into all of that. But we are going to go into one part of that.
We left a lot of that inside.
We got a couple books, and I'm only bringing these up because I think books are such a wonderful way to carry on the legacy and the history of the Walt Disney Company. And the first book I grabbed on Saturday morning from the
Disney Publishing
Pavilion. Disney Publishing Pavilion. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And this is called Dream Chasing, and it's by Bob Weiss, who is formerly the president of Walt Disney Imagineering. And it looks like it's going to be fantastic. I haven't started it yet, so I can't say what's on Mr. Daps' desk because I don't have a desk right now. I have it.
It's kind of a desk.
It's like a table. I don't know what it is. Anyway,
it's an island.
This one, it's sold out each day.
Yeah.
It will be online later this fall. Like, it was a pre-sale thing, so it's not open to the public yet. But it really looks like a fantastic look at 4 decades at Walt Disney Imagineering that ranges from EPCOT to, I think, Shanghai he worked on. Like, he worked all over the place.
There's the forward.
And Bob Iger did the forward. And I saw him walking around all weekend. Very cool.
It was actually really fun. I'd be like, there goes Bob Weiss.
Yeah, very cool. Another one that really we could talk about the Disney Legends ceremony with this one. But Martha Blanding is a... what would you call it? Like trailblazer. That's the word. I suppose I should hold it this way so you can see it. Trailblazer at the Disneyland Resort. She was the first.
She was the first Black tour guide.
That's the word. And then first Black manager on Main Street, and just was always pushing forward. And if you watch her video where she tells her story during the Disney Legends ceremony, which we do have on the website, you can either watch the full version or just her segment. This is an incredible story that she has of overcoming obstacles and being told, no, you can't, and her saying, yes, I can. And she wrote this, just a second more. She also wrote this with my good friend, Tim O'Day. So when this is available online, go ahead and purchase it, and make sure to tag Tim. And I don't think she's on social media from what I've seen, but make sure to tag him and say how much you love this book, because I know it's going to be fantastic when I read it as well.
I really I really love when we get to see our lead cast members rise through the ranks, and then they get to share their own stories. I think it is such a unique perspective. And it was also really fun to see that in a Disney Legend ceremony, was to see her honored by Disneyland Park itself. Like, it was truly, it felt like
it was a Disney moment. Like you got the Disneyland band and the Dapper Dans and Mickey and Minnie, and it was very special.
It felt like the true, like, hometown hero moment.
It was a Follow Me Boys minute. Like, I thought it was very Follow Me Boys. It kind of reminded me also of, like, Mr. Allen's Opus, which is basically just a remake of Follow Me Boys. But he's a band teacher instead of a troop leader. But no, it was a very special moment and very beautiful.
I loved it, and I'm very excited to read that as well.
Got one more book, if I can reach over
It's
here.
not as big of a book.
This book, a little bit quicker read, maybe aimed at a little bit younger, but this is Anika Noni Rose's book called Tiana's Perfect Plan. And it really, if we were to sum it all up, it's about sometimes being perfect means just doing your best. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but I did get to meet her, and she did sign the book to Mr. Daps. And let's see if I can aim it better. Probably can't, but my article on the website shows that, and also shares a little bit about my experience meeting her and the thoughts that that brought about. And highly encourage, if you're going to only read one link from anything we cover tonight, that's probably the one to read, because that was a very special moment.
I really
as well.
love.
And yes, you do need that book for your classroom, and I think it comes out in September or something.
Oh, we
Itzy.
should have bought an extra copy.
We will see what we can do to get one out to you, Itzy.
I think what's really special about that is she signed it as Anika Noni Rose and Princess Tiana.
I think it was AKA.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I was looking at that. I'm like, I thought it was and at first
Her
too.
penmanship
and then
is
I was
also
like,
so beautiful that I
I
was
actually
like,
complimented her on it when she was
Yeah.
writing in there. I'm like, wow, you really have beautiful penmanship.
which something I did not know. I'm just going to throw in a little tidbit.
Mhm.
I did not know that Mark Henn animated Tiana to be left-handed because because Anika Noni Rose
Mhm.
is left-handed.
Yep.
I thought that was very fun.
Yeah, it was a very cool thing. Another very cool thing before we get into news is we did get a reunion.
News.
We did get a reunion of the Mad Tea Party Band on Saturday night before the, I'm going to call it the Parks panel, even though it was Horizons Disney Experiences Showcase, because that's just too long. I could call it Horizons. I can call it Parks panel. I hope you'll let me use those interchangeably and know that that's what I mean. But just in case, because sometimes people get nitpicky and they're like, you said it wrong. And I'm like, I know what the real one is. But Mad Tea Party Band, what did you think of them returning?
I was gagged. I was gooped. I was gobsmacked. So they said, we're going to bring out Hiatus. And I said, okay, we've seen Hiatus before. Like, this is fine.
Could you not see them from how high you were?
I could.
Okay, because I could see in the shadows. I was like, that looks like the Mad Tea Party Band.
So I could not see them. I also am very easily confused. There was that little stage. I didn't really look at that little stage a whole lot.
Okay.
But they said, oh, Hiatus. And I said, oh, cool, Hiatus. And then the lights came up and I went, that is not Hiatus.
Do you suppose they kept the name Hiatus because Mad Tea really isn't coming back? It's
Correct.
just like, let's keep it people happy, or like not.
And Hiatus, because the T is capitalized in Hiatus, was originally the Mad Tea Party is on break band. And so it was the performers getting together. What I thought was incredible was typically Hiatus would do Mad Tea Party songs and then Mad Tea Party-esque songs. So like that 80s rock ballad, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This was a Mad Tea Party set. This was I
felt like it was a combination of several of their sets, but
Well,
yes.
Okay. Yes, but it was all like, they were all in costume, first of all. And then it was like the dialogue was there. It was the choreography was there. It was like A Very Merry Birthday. Hearing that again unlocked something in me. I was very Mad Tea Party. My mom's probably gonna laugh at me right now. I was very Mad Tea Party when I was like 16, 17, 18. Like I grew up in DCA 2.0, if you want to say that. And so those years were so formative to me. So it was literally like everything. I was like, what? It was like, I felt like I was in a fever dream. I have to be so honest, but it was crazy.
And it was funny looking around for the people when this came up, because you could tell all of the Disneylanders.
Yeah.
All the Disneylanders were stoked. And then you had people that weren't from Disneyland or from overseas that just weren't aware of what Mad Tea Party Band was or Hiatus. And they're kind of like,
Yeah.
And it
it's
was
an Alice in Wonderland band.
Yeah,
okay?
it was definitely went from a wide range of like, this is the best thing ever to like, I don't get what's going on right now, which was great. Like, it was very fun to watch.
And even more so, like, I don't understand why these people are like freaking out.
Mhm.
I also like to tell you how ingrained this show is in my head. I subconsciously, without actively thinking about it, started doing choreography.
There you go.
Specifically, picked up the phone, dropped it on the floor, was all I heard. Are we gonna that Let's Go Crazy? All of that. I can do all the choreography for that. Because it is first
So
of all,
could they.
Let's Go. Well, okay. I know they could do it.
Mhm.
Anyway, it's been like 10 years.
8.
12 years since Tea Party debuted.
Oh, yes, but
8
the
years
last time it
since
was
the-
here. Yeah.
8 years since the last time it was, but that was Mad Tea Party Diamond Band. That was
True.
different.
It was a bit
But it's been
different.
12 years since it debuted, which is really
Mhm.
12 years since I was in my Tea Party era. And so I was joking, if you ever saw the girls with the March hare ears, those were all of my friends. I did say that I should have brought my March hare ears out, but I never had any. But
How would you know?
how would I know?
All right. So once they finished, then the true Horizons began. And one of the things I thought was brilliant about this is they definitely had a theme, they had a purpose, they had a plan, and they stuck to it through the whole night. And I would say it was probably the most powerfully programmed 3 hours of the entire weekend.
It was punchy.
And I would say Jolly Holiday was the most poignant hour and a
Mhm.
half, whatever it was, of the weekend. But we're gonna go for powerful in a different way. I would say this was 3 hours of nonstop go go go, and that surprised me. But they had to start it strong also to really bring you in. So they used Patrick Warburton. And at first it looks like you're just going to get the new, the redo of the Soarin' that we saw on the Disney Parks blog or wherever it was a couple months ago. But no, they made a version of it that was specifically for D23 and the Horizons Disney Experiences Showcase. And it was hilarious. And with that one, 5-minute segment or whatever, because it went into some music and montage stuff at the end, they had, I think they won over the crowd in a very easy way, because they showed right from the get-go, between Mad Tea Party Band going right into our favorite flight attendant, that they're like, we know these things are things that you love, and maybe you not miss with the flight attendant thing, but there are things that are near and dear to your heart that you can get excited about, and people did.
There was also two very important things that I think set the tone for the showcase extremely well. I think one, the fact they brought back these little beauties. They brought back that guy, incredible. Apparently his name's Jay. Hi Jay, you're doing great work. Second thing, your chief flight attendant Patrick says, if the height of your expectations is too high, that may have been on you.
There was a lot of, through the whole panel, there was a lot of self-awareness, but there was also a lot of guest awareness or fan awareness too. And this kept happening throughout the entire night, where there were jabs made at the Disney company or Josh D'Amaro's sweater being tight. Or sometimes maybe it went a little bit more towards the guests of unrealistic expectations. But the whole thing done was from a way of, we hear you, we're connecting with you, and we're making, it was almost like a do-good kind of a thing of, we heard last time what your thoughts were on the Disney Parks and Experiences panel. So then, and now we're going to, we've learned from this, and we are going to basically give you exactly what you want and then some, because there were a bunch of surprises that nobody had on their bingo cards.
I should have made a bingo card.
I saw people that were, but there's a lot of things that people didn't even have on their bingo cards that were announced throughout the night. And we're not going to hit everything tonight, but we're gonna hit a few things.
Also important to note, Josh D'Amaro did say at the top of the panel, these are all happening.
Yes, in fact, everything that's happening, or everything that was announced during the panel, and you can see the whole thing on our YouTube or the website, is happening in the next 5 years. And I think that's actually incredible. And multiple times throughout the night, he was talking about how the project is already in the works, or the shovels are already in the ground, or the movement that's happening on these different things. And so that showed it wasn't just a pretty picture and a fun thing. It was literally, this is happening.
Yeah.
And I would say the energy in that room for many of these things reminded me, and perhaps even surpassed, when Bob Iger, announced not just one Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but 2. And
nothing will ever be as iconic as that moment.
I think that moment itself goes above and beyond the whole thing, but the entire panel had fantastic energy throughout the night. It also had fantastic music throughout the night. So, you know, you heard the Horizon score, you heard We Go On at some point from, from Illuminations back in the day. And you heard different iconic, I guess you could say, musical pieces that were scattered among the announcements. And some of them were the announcements. Like, we learned that Tiana's Bayou is opening on November 15th at the Disneyland Resort during a song that was
Darren, Chris, and Skylar Aston.
It was a song and dance number that went through a bunch of Disney news and was just like, and
do you ever feel like that's how you wish you could do Geeks Corner?
No.
Okay.
I mean, Johnny and I used to do stuff like that, but it was a lot of work.
That's
and maybe once in a while, but not very often. But they kept delivering on what people wanted and what they were connecting with. And, you know, like you have John Stamos singing When You Wish Upon a Star right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then that goes into, let's do a song about Disneyland's 70th, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And so we learned some things. Not only do we learn that we're getting a opening date for Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which we knew we'd get one eventually, but we also learned that Walt Disney is going to be coming to the Disneyland Resort as part of the 70th in audio-animatronic form. And he will have a show in the Opera House that will eventually oscillate between that and Abe Lincoln, which honestly, is there anything more perfect than Walt Disney and Abe Lincoln sharing a stage? When you think of Walt's history as a kid dressing up as Abe Lincoln and that becoming like his thing is being Abe Lincoln, and maybe for Halloween they just put a top hat and a beard on him and they could have him do the Gettysburg. I don't know, kidding. But like, what do you think of this? Like, I think this is a very interesting idea that has been mulled around for many years at Imagineering, and now they think the technology is there. Now they have the family on board with this, and you go ahead and then I'll say what I think.
I do not feel iffy about the execution in the slightest. I think it is going to be excellently done. My guess, this was not confirmed to us in the slightest, but my guess would be that they are going to use archival recording of Walt Disney. I hope
for like the voice.
For the voice.
And even maybe animating him.
I hope they don't use AI, personally. I think my only thing I feel weird about in all of this, and not to defend a man that was gone far before I was ever born. So we'll start there. I don't think Walt Disney ever wanted to be the show. Walt Disney wanted to put the show on. I don't know.
Because
I also think though that we also live in such a different time now.
I actually kind of disagree, because Walt was the ultimate showman.
Correct.
And while he might not have always wanted to be the show, he always was the show. When you think of every Wonderful World of Disney, opening of Disneyland,
sure,
you know, Walt very much put himself out there in front and knew, you know, he knew that the public was watching him, and he made choices when he was out and about because of these things. And I actually think there's something to be said for connecting to the roots and the origins of the company and what Disney is in a new way that hopefully this works. And that's gonna be hard. Like, that's gonna be I don't have a good imagination of like what this show will be.
Okay.
Because you don't want another It's Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln of like, oh, he walked in the snow delivering papers.
Two brothers on their
and maybe it will be something like that, and the music will be great, and it'll tell this emotional story of how Walt went from paper boy to, you know, being in the papers. And but you know, I'm sure there's got to be a compelling story, because one of the things we did hear over and over and over again throughout the whole weekend, but specifically this panel, was the importance of storytelling. Yeah. And I'm thinking also the Legends ceremony. You heard this over and over again of like, oh, this is a storyteller. This is a storyteller in this right or that right, and things like that. But I think it'll be very interesting. Like, I am very curious to see, one, how it's executed, two, like, how does it feel? Which is almost more important than anything else. Because if it feels right, then everything else really won't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it'll be. And what aged Walt? Like, what Walt are we going to get?
I think we would get the Age of Disneyland opening Walt.
I kind of think so too. And we don't really get him in color very often, so that will be interesting. as well for us.
I'm looking
And
forward to it. I am just
Yeah.
saying gut reactions. This is what is going through my mind. I would like to put it publicly. I am not a what would Walt have wanted person because
I think it's fair. I mean, we don't know.
there is no way of knowing in 2024
And
what
Walt-
Walt Disney would have wanted.
And Walt was a creative,
Mhm.
which by his very nature, a creative is sometimes unpredictable, often unpredictable.
He really enjoyed pushing the limits of technology, and he really enjoyed pushing a great story.
Yep.
And so I think there is a potential that if Walt Disney realized that he was the great story, that he might want to tell that. But there is literally no way of knowing. I am just saying gut reaction. This is what's going through my head.
We also learned that there's going to be a Coco attraction coming to Disney California Adventure. That construction will begin in 2026. So we got a ways to go until that gets going. The Avatar experience is going to be, I think, bigger in some ways than a lot of people imagined, but it looks like it's going to be incredible. We got descriptions of this water attraction. In fact, both of these are going to be water attractions, it look like. And
we don't know where either of these are going.
Correct. And I thought both of them look fantastic. I'm very happy that they're not doing a cookie cutter of, this is the Avatar we have in Florida. Here's what you get, the exact same in California. I like that they're two different experiences. And especially as the world gets smaller, because it's easier to travel, I like that you can go here and experience this, or you can go there and experience that. And they're similar but different, which just creates, I think, more magic for people as opposed to going on the same thing everywhere you go.
I will repeat this when we get a little bit farther into Disneyland announcements.
Okay. I don't know which direction I'm going with things, so that will be great.
Whenever you say, I'll bring it up.
We got some news on nighttime spectaculars. There's a Reach for the Stars coming to Tokyo Disneyland, which we already knew about in September. There's a nighttime projection show that's coming to Disneyland Paris next year in January. And then at Magic Kingdom, they are getting their nighttime parade called Disney Starlight. It looks beautiful, and it will be coming next summer. And honestly, I think that's going to be worth a trip out to Walt Disney World at some point for just to see that. It'll be led by the Blue Fairy, which is a wonderful nod to the original Main Street Electrical Parade. And I think that's going to be fantastic.
Brought to you by Coca-Cola Starlight.
We're also getting a World of Frozen that we already knew about, Disneyland Paris. Very cool. We got a little bit more on that. We also learned Lion King coming to Disneyland Paris. It is being, to answer your question that I think you're about to ask, it is inspired by the animated classic, not by the live action. Sometimes models are just models. And,
no way! I'm sorry. I like that you read me so well.
Well, it's been a big discussion. It'll be at the World of Adventure, which is currently Walt Disney Studios in Paris, and it'll be opening in 2026. I think we both can agree these look great.
Yeah.
Lion King, the only thing I will say is looks a lot like Tiana's Bayou Adventure. The ride system, at least. I will be curious. Will they be logs or something else?
I mean, logs would fit.
I mean, yeah, it would totally work.
They're just bugs.
Yeah, it could be a lot of fun. Moving right along. Exactly. Let's hit Tropical Americas, Disney's Animal Kingdom. We learned more about a area that will be, I guess, focused on Encanto with the casita that will be a living, breathing casita. Like, that looks impressive. I don't know how they're going to do that. There's going to be an attraction there, I believe, as well. There's also a beautiful carousel that's going to be in the area. Looks great. But the thing I'm most excited about in that area is a new Indiana Jones attraction with a new story. Continuing the trend of not just cookie cuttering it, like, we're not going to clone it, but they're coming up with a new story, and everything that's going into Tropical Americas are connected to animals one way or another, which I thought was a nice little thing. They didn't like make a big deal about it, but like, it was also there, and it should be. I
don't know if it's an Animal Kingdom, but is it?
It's animals.
Okay.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure we learned about. Bayou Country is going to be the new name for Critter Country when it reopens.
That makes me nervous for some certain bears.
Which bears?
The Winnie the Pooh bear.
Oh, that's the home of Winnie the Pooh now.
He lives in the bayou?
Well, that's where his attraction is.
His 100-acre wood is in the Bayou.
Could be. It's. I mean, it's in Christopher Robin's imagination anyway. So,
Sure.
I mean, Critter Country has never been the English, you know. English,
I mean, sure,
whatever.
yes.
Like I think it's always been a stretch, and we always stretch our imaginations. We go to Disneyland.
And
anyway.
now the canoes have been in 4 different lands without ever moving once.
True. That'll be fun.
It's a good trivia question. Jot that down.
The new Zootopia, Better Zoo Together, I can't say that, is taking over
me,
the Tree of Life.
Better Together, Better Zoo.
One of the interesting things I thought that I'm excited about personally, and I want to know how to get into it, is the lounge that's coming to EPCOT Spaceship Earth that you can overlook the waters.
Me too.
I don't care day or night. I just think that's going to be a great place to go. Yeah. We also learned about the Pirates Lounge in Magic Kingdom. Also another great place to go. We learned a little bit about Test Track.
Okay.
Tiny bit.
That's close.
Mainly that it'll open next year.
Yeah.
We also learned about Monsters, Inc. It's getting a land. It's going to Disney's Hollywood Studios. We don't know where exactly, but we do know that Billy Crystal announced it, and that makes it awesome. Wasn't it fun?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also, I think, it's in my top 5 Pixar movies. I do think it is my favorite Pixar score. I think it's incredible. I think Monsters Inc. is.
It's a very good.
So fun.
It's a very good.
But Billy Crystal announcing the door coaster, so good.
Yes, which I think, since the moment everybody has seen that film, it just screams for an attraction.
Well, you know what makes me think is coming next?
What?
There is another thing coming to Magic Kingdom that we are going to get to.
You want to say it?
Yeah, we're getting Villains Land in Magic Kingdom.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Cars one, but go ahead.
Oh.
Go Villains first.
Josh tomorrow. I think that's what Magic Mirror did.
Oh, okay.
Magic Mirror goes, Josh.
I was like, Josh is not a villain.
No, I was sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Since we're now just doing these things that we've been talking about for 20 plus years, are we going to get an Yzma's coaster where it's the wrong lever crunk?
We can hope.
Because I'm like, this feels like that, not to date all of us here, but this feels like the forums and message boards of like 20 years ago of like, what if they made a door coaster from Monsters?
It's like Roz has been watching us the entire time. How's that for callback to a minute ago? Yeah, I think, and there's 2 attractions, if I recall, in Villains, the Villains Land, which will be beyond Big Thunder Mountain. It looks like it's kind of between, like it's going to be behind the Cars area, between Thunder Mountain and Haunted Mansion. Like it feels like it's clearing that area, which I think will be very cool. And it also looks like that'll leave more room for growth in the future of Magic Kingdom.
I think so too.
And that's because Cars Land is going where the current Rivers of America is. And there has been a ton of discussion about this today. And my initial thought was, oh no, because I love the Mark Twain. I love the Liberty Bell. Like I was putting it in the context of our local park. But then I started thinking about it. And like most of the times I've been on the Liberty Bell, there's only been like a couple of us on it. And when I've gone to Tom Sawyer Island there's only been a couple of us on it. And
Magic Kingdom is a big park.
And Magic Kingdom is a very big park. And I will say quite often we end up going to other parks because it's like, well, I went on the rides I really wanted to go on. And I just kind of want something else to do. And so I'm hopeful that this leads not just to new attractions, but like maybe some more dining locations, some more shady areas, like just create a little bit more things to do. And I think when you look at how popular Radiator Springs Racers is, which is not the same attraction that they're putting in Magic Kingdom, it's similar but different. I do think that bodes really well for the future of Magic Kingdom. And it just gives, like, it's already the most popular park at Walt Disney World. It gives people more things to do when they're there. We're going to go over a little bit tonight, by the way, guys. So we're almost welcome to Geeks Corner Plus.
Almost.
Did you want to add anything to that?
No, I also think, well, I guess that I am adding something.
Oh, okay, good.
Mom. I think that anytime you're adding something to do to Magic Kingdom, it is a positive. I was talking about this earlier. I believe there's a statistic. Someone tell me if I'm wrong. I'm sure there will be someone that will. That Magic Kingdom actually has less attractions than Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park. And that is pretty crazy. When you think about how large in size Magic Kingdom is, it doesn't feel right. Like, I feel like Magic Kingdom might be bigger than Disneyland and DCA put together. And for that to have less attractions in such a large space, like, what are we doing? How are we going to add things to do? How are we going to, in the most simple of terms, eat more people? Like, the people have to go somewhere. We have to give them something to do. And I think that
and if it shortens the line for the people mover,
yeah, amen.
perfect.
I think that if we are giving guests something to do, I think that is a great thing. I think, unfortunately, this is going to be maybe my quote of the night: vibes can't save us. I think that vibes are excellent. I think that the aesthetic and the feeling of a park is incredible, and that's something that is very important. But vibes cannot save a park at all.
The thought that popped into my mind today with all of this is I love going to my grandma's house growing up.
Okay.
Like, it was a wonderful place to go and visit.
Yeah.
However, as you get older, you start realizing, I don't really want to sit on that same old chair forever. Or grandma's house maybe isn't my favorite place to go anymore because I love going and seeing grandma and grandpa, but the house has not really changed in the last 50 years or however long they've lived there. And maybe it needs some updates. Maybe it needs new windows or air conditioning or
a new
furniture
bed frame,
or whatever. And I do think it is important to remember that anything that doesn't change will die.
Sure.
And so as you're thinking of what's the future of the company, what's the future of the parks and resorts or Disney experiences, you do have to make these tough choices of everything has a cost. Is this worth the cost? Whether it's a PR cost or a goodwill cost or a physical, like, financial cost, there's always going to be some give and take for this. And when you think of going on Liberty Bell or Tom Sawyer Island and rarely seeing people out there, maybe just a few people out there, versus what we see in Cars Land, where there's an hour plus line most of the time for something like Radiator Springs Racers, which there will be, I would tend to guess, an even better version of some sort of that type of technology that guests will be able to experience at Magic Kingdom. This is almost a surefire bet. Like, you're going to be making more people happy and creating new memories for new fans that will keep the Disney brand and legacy and company moving forward, as opposed to getting stagnant and losing market share if we really wanted to get into the nitty gritty of it. And so I think it's a good thing for them to do. Is it an easy thing? No, but everything's going to end up having its cost. And I would rather see the Disney company succeed and create something great that fans are going to like than it just stay there and then maybe it gets bought by Comcast or something. Like, that's the risk that you could have if the company doesn't well, or like what we saw earlier this year, a Nelson Peltz Trian Group thing, where they come in and they change the business model completely, and it becomes a very different thing.
Disney parks were not meant to be museums.
Correct.
As much as we love them, there was even, I was talking about my most favorite attraction. It's a show, not a ride with a queue, but it isn't a show. And I was like, at some point it's going to go away. Will I be sad? Absolutely. But I also understand that the technology will become outdated. It might not resonate with audiences anymore. Like, I understand all these things happen, and we need to keep moving forward, as Walt Disney once said. So yeah, they were not meant to be a museum. Unless it's Indiana Jones going, it belongs in a museum.
But then that's the thing I want to see, is I want to see the Liberty Bell in a museum.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Then it could be the new biggest acquisition of the Walt Disney Archives, which I think would be fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. We also learned, can we keep moving forward?
Yeah.
Okay. We also learned there's 4 more ships coming to the Disney Cruise Line. We don't know their names. We don't know anything about them. We just know they're coming in the next 10 years, but they've probably already been ordered. Which I'm going to give them that. They start coming in 2027, and all of them will be here by 2031, which is really only 6 years.
7 years.
7 years. So that actually is pretty quick too.
Yeah.
We got a huge section on Epic Games that was pretty cool. We're going to skip through that. The one thing I will note was it was so cool to see all the studio heads working so closely together on this and kind of playing with each other and competing with each other, and Josh as well,
That
which
felt
was
like I was
very fun.
playing with my action figures.
We also learned Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run is getting a new story that's themed to the Mandalorian and Grogu. I think it's going to be epic.
Sorry,
it's going to be
coaxium.
awesome. I'm just curious what we get to do. Like, to me, that was my first thought, was like, ooh, what do we get to do? This will be fun.
So excited.
Then Deadpool took over the thing.
Oh my gosh.
And
that got crazy.
That got crazy. We heard some really bad blue sky ideas that will never happen.
Brown sky.
But then we learned about the expansion of Avengers Campus, which looks like it's going to more than double the land.
This is where I jump in with my, I'm so glad they're not cloning things, because when they surprised us with a 4th attraction, I held my breath. I was so scared. I was like, oh no, they're about to announce Cosmic Rewind West Coast. And that is my favorite ride attraction, period, is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. And I was like, please don't do this, please don't do this, please don't do this. And we're getting a whole new 4th attraction that is not a clone.
Yep. So
I was so happy.
So we're getting Avengers Infinity Defense, which is an e-ticket. And it looks like it'll be absolutely insane and great. And they're going to begin construction on that next year. Then we're also getting Stark Flight Lab, which basically you get to go on this thing and it throws you around like this on an arm, and that looks fun.
Something we have not seen in a Disney park before.
No, we have not, and I think that will be fun. One thing we should go back and say, the Monsters Inc. ride, you're going to be suspended in that, so like your feet will be dangling, and that's going to be the first time there's a suspended ride in a Disney park. So I just thought of that because I thought the Stark Flight Lab kind of had a similar sitting situation. But I think what this is going to do is it's really going to make Avengers Campus a fully formed land. And I think one of the things as a Disneylander, looking at the version that Walt Disney Studios at Disneyland Paris got, is like, that one just looks, it looks fully, like it looks
realized,
complete and full and huge. Whereas Avengers Campus does feel more like a campus instead of a whole land.
Yeah.
And when I saw the concept art for this in just like the Quinjet in the background, if we actually get that, or if it's just concept art, but it just had a depth to it and a fullness to it that made it feel like a full land to me.
Yeah.
We also learned about Villains Land, which we also hit. Is there anything else I missed that were announced in that panel? I think that's most of it.
I think that's it.
Okay, so my final thought for tonight / question is, what do you think? We'll do that in just a second. Okay. What did you think overall of the weekend's events and the repercussions of these events? Mainly, we're going to open the plastic part of this while we talk. Mainly regarding the parks and resorts news.
I thought the parks panel was so incredible. Especially, that was my first time ever being in the building for a parks panel. I was never lucky enough to actually get into
the room where it happened.
Hall D23.
You're welcome.
I was never lucky enough to get into those rooms. I can't open that. Thank you.
Keep going, or
I actually was so overwhelmed within. This is funny how much I've told people this. I was so overwhelmed with information that I cried in the Taco Bell drive-thru on the way home because I was so, like, my brain was melting for information, and that's a fun place to be in. Not crying in the Taco Bell drive-thru, that's not a fun place to be in, but having so much good and exciting news is such a fun place to be.
Yeah, I think it bodes well for the culture of the company, the direction of the company, and it's going to be very fun to see what comes next. I think the big question mark will be who becomes the CEO, because I think the vision of the CEO will determine the future and the vision for Disney experiences as well. And so that would be my one question mark, is like, whoever ends up in that slot next, I really hope they prioritize and have the same values that Bob Iger currently has for Disney experiences, because I think that's one thing that could be really good or not so good as well. But I feel like the people that are in charge right now genuinely love Disney. They are trying to make Disney better. And we may not agree with every decision they make, but we can disagree without being disagreeable, and we can we can say, hey, you know what? You're looking at things from a different perspective than I am. You're hearing different things than I am. Here's my perspective.
Mhm.
That's okay. That's your perspective. That's okay. And we can have a dialogue about this as a Disney community. And also when we see Josh D'Amaro and Ken Potrock and all of these other people in the parks, that's respectful and civil and kind.
Yeah.
And we can have these
Kindness
difference of
counts.
opinions. And I think it actually makes everybody's vantage points and viewpoints that much stronger, because we can learn stuff from each other and hopefully have a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
It's beautiful.
With that, let's open these lacers and see what we got.
Which one did I get?
It'd be funny if we got the same one. I think you're gonna get this one.
That's so funny.
This
I
is-
got the princess one.
Oh, this is Dumbo. Actually, I'm
Aw,
gonna keep this one then.
I got the princess.
So Dumbo and the princess. All right, we are running out of time. Katie, what should people do?
You should go to dapsmagic.com. Check out all the Disney and geek news as it happens. Subscribe to our mailing list because we have so much news coming out. You do not want to miss it. Also subscribe to our mailing list, which I literally just said, and find our Patreon, where we have a whole lot of fun over there. We are currently inventing new things for the Patreon as we speak.
We are.
So,
And did you know
thanks, Isaac.
that the patrons for Daps Magic end up in the credits?
Yeah.
So if you watch the credits, you will see the patrons thanked there as well. But make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got a ton of D23 videos going up. We got a ton more, along with, I think, a Deadpool video and a couple other things too. So you don't want to miss any of that. We will continue to post that as quickly and efficiently as we possibly can without killing ourselves off. But that is all the time we have for you this week. So we will see you around the corner.
Bye.